Hello and welcome to the Clock and Talk, an Arsenal podcast, and we're covering, for fuck's sake.
Good job me and Schwinn are a lot more prepared than you, because if we came on and went, oh yeah, we didn't watch the game either, we was on the piss, it'd be a pretty shit podcast.
Well, Mesut Ozil is the best number 10 in the Premier League.
Yeah, that all looks good on paper, but there's never been a football match played on paper, so it's not really worth much.
I'm going to make a bold prediction that Jack Wilshere will sign for West Ham United.
It's time to start watching football with your eyes. I think people listen to what the commentator's saying and have that as their own opinion, but if you watch what's going on, you'll see things a lot clearer.
Schwinn, who do you think is going to win the Golden Boot?
I think Alexis Sanchez might do a number on that this year.
Yeah, okay. Tony talks about a clock being right twice a day. Says he's right every day. Try it from 5, lads. Fucking beauty. Hello and welcome to the Clock and Talk, an Arsenal podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. You can find us on Twitter at @clockand_talk. We are also on Facebook, and we get the podcast out to YouTube and all good podcast apps each and every week. I'm joined by a couple of blokes, but one bloke's not with us today because he's touring around London, so, well, I presume he is, and that is Schwinn, but we've got Tony. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Obviously, good result during the week. A bit nervous for tomorrow. I always say, especially, I don't know if it's the same as a non-going match fan. It probably is, but as a match-going fan, I always hate the North London derby. It terrifies me until the final whistle goes. So I don't think I used to be like that, but I'm not sure if it's me getting older or whatnot.
Actually,
I just hate the thought of it.
I'm hearing you. Actually, look, and I didn't watch the Tottenham game, but I heard a stat come out that they didn't even have a shot on target, which, and we'll get into a bit later, but geez, that surprised me a bit. So, I don't know what's happening there. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Did you watch the game?
Well, I was obviously at Arsenal, so I saw highlights, but I don't know if they had a shot on target and whatnot. I know, again, we're going to get into this later, but I think with their last 5 games that Kane has started, they've lost 4. And then obviously there was a doubt, would he be suspended? Should he be suspended? But losing 4 at 80% of his last 5 games, maybe we want him in the team.
Yeah,
that's a joke. Absolutely don't want him in the team.
No, I don't really want him there either. Okay, look. We're going to do a very quick podcast because as soon as this comes out and hits your little podcast app, within 24 hours we play the Spurs, and then the whole team, including Schwinn, hopefully, will be back and we'll do a full show. So we're just going to wrap this Bournemouth up quickly. And then we're going to get a couple of questions on Twitter. So, Tony, obviously, 5-1, mate, brilliant display by Arsenal. Your thoughts on the whole match in general?
Yeah, it's the most goals we scored under Unai at the Emirates. I thought we looked a bit more like we was trying to attack. Bournemouth were very bad. I'm not saying we only won because they were bad, but due to their injuries and whatnot, they just didn't look great at all. Still a bit worrying if there is a slight negative that we still give up chances. I mean, they hit the bar, they missed a one-on-one. Following the one-on-one, we had a goal-saving tackle by Koscielny or a block by Koscielny. So yeah, we're still giving up chances, which is probably the only slight negative. But there's so many positives. I thought Ozil was excellent for probably the first half hour, and then after that he was good. But the first half hour he was almost unplayable. Mickey, who again everyone knows I don't particularly rate, but since he's been back from injury, I think he's been, if not our best player every week, he's been in the top 2.
I agree.
So you can't question that. I thought he played very well. His ball, not even his ball for Aubameyang's goal, but his run, the power to get through a few players, I don't really expect that of him. The pass was quite an easy one because of the space, but to get into that position, I thought he done really well. I thought he had a good game. I thought Gunnersaurus had a really good game at right wing back. I've seen calls for him to start on Saturday, tomorrow, and I'm not sure I'm fully on board with that, but he had a good game. It's very difficult to say anyone didn't have a good game. I thought Guendouzi, after his mistake for their goal, he was rattled a bit for 15 minutes, and you'll know I always say with young players, I want, in the best way possible, I want to see them make a massive mistake, because that's when you learn about them. I kept saying it all last season with Mavropanos and Guendouzi. To his credit, we're now in March. Well, so it was the end of February before the first time he'd made a major mistake. And it rattled him for 15 minutes. He looked a bit nervous, but then he came out for the second half like it never happened, and that's a really good sign.
I don't. Yeah, I hear you with that. And a few people were talking about it on Twitter that they don't like how Guendouzi he wears his heart on his sleeve, but it is a bit of bad trait that I hope he does get out of his game, because look, he's obviously playing for the badge, he's playing for the Arsenal, and he knows his future's there. But what do you think about, the 10, 15 minutes he's really down, and that worries me about mistakes there?
Well, I mean, it's a sign of a young player. As I said, I always want to see that. And if you compare it to Mavropanos, who is also older than him, everyone was going on about how good Mavropanos was, and I always said I want to see him make a mistake. He made a mistake and Leicester scored against us away, and a minute later he got sent off because he couldn't recover from his mistake, and mentally he wasn't strong enough yet. It will come, it's not a worry, but I think that's when you learn if a player's ready. And I think with Guendouzi, I wouldn't even say he was bad for that 15 minutes. He just went into his shell. He wasn't his normal self. But then, as I said, he got in at half time and completely recovered and had a good second half. And I think that's pretty much as good as you can hope for, especially someone so young. And let's be honest, so inexperienced as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And look, winning 5-1, it's very hard to find the negatives, but I just seen that, a few people talking about that on Twitter. Your thoughts? So, obviously, another different formation. However, Aubameyang up front on his own. I don't mind this Mkhitaryan Ozil up top there as well. Your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, it worked, but did it work because they were so poor and they were so all over the place? I mean, if you look at, say, Ozil's first goal, it's good to have that extra runner, because if we're usually only playing one there, you wouldn't have someone running in. But the gap between their centre-backs was huge. Kolasinac just slid him through, and he could have, I mean, it would have been a difficult pass, but Aubameyang was free in the middle as well, so Ozil didn't even have to shoot. It was like he still had another option. It would have been a harder option, and he'd done the right thing. So is that a result of our formation, or is it a result of just how bad and how open Burnley were on the day?
Bournemouth,
even the second goal, obviously, it's a terrible pass by Adam Smith, which Mickey does well. But even the space Ozil had, there's no one within 20 yards of him. He plays it back to Mickey, who's got no one near him. He could have played it to Aubameyang, who had someone kind of near him, but the ball was still on. Or Ozil could have finished it himself. He could have gone round the keeper. I think when you've got that many options, it's usually a sign of the other team not defending very well. I think we played well. I'm not trying to take anything away from us. But I think it's hard to judge. I mean, I wouldn't go and play exactly the same against Tottenham, is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, okay. One thing that did surprise me a little bit, and look, I at the end of the day, I don't really care about Bournemouth, but the Bournemouth fans would probably be asking. David Brooks, I thought he's been very good this season from the games I've seen. Schwinn's always talking him up, and yet he didn't even make an appearance. So
he's been out injured for about 4 weeks, and that was the first time he'd even been on the bench.
Okay, well that makes sense.
So I mean, their injuries, to be fair to them, because I think they're quite a decent team, but their injuries at the moment. So they had a few defenders out, who are obviously not really. You're never going to be a star name as a defender, so it's difficult to go through them. But they had Callum Wilson out, they had Brooks out, they had Lewis Cook out, they had Jefferson Lerma out. Who else? They had a lot of their attacking players, the ones who you'd consider to be their better players, were all out. So I think, it's probably quite hard to judge him. I mean, Jordan Ibe, I think he played all 90, and he doesn't usually get anywhere near their team. I think Stanislas is injured as well. So it's hard to question them. I think they have 8 or 9 injuries, and they're in key positions. And Brooks probably wasn't even ready to be on the bench, but they were so short. I mean, even the guy they bring on, Sam Surridge, I think his name was, never heard of him. Like, he was number 49 or something ridiculous. Like, it just shows where their squad is at the moment with their injuries and suspensions.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I think I called a 3-1. I think Schwinn called a 2. No, I called a 3-0. Schwinn called a 2-0 by memory. But yeah, so we were a long way off. I never thought 5-1 at the end of the day. I'm fucking stoked. But I know we've had some rocky ups and downs this season. Is this one of Emery's best? Do you think he sorted Bournemouth out? He done his video analysis, so they've been saying, and he found the weaknesses there.
I'm not sure because again, I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but they had so many players out that. Was it just that we played well, but was it that we played well against the bad side, or did he really do all his homework and know that they were going to be weak in this position, that position, and whatnot? It's very hard to say. I mean, I don't think we played well. They played very badly, and the two happened at the same time, and it caused a big scoreline. As I said, our two biggest wins this season are that and Fulham, both 5-1. Yeah. Fulham was away, but this was a lot better. I mean, I think Fulham, we were 2-1 in the 70th minute or something like that. And then and we was 1-1 at half-time, I know we was for sure. And then we got a load of late goals. Whereas the game, even at 2-0, the game looked over. We made the mistake and let them back in it. And then as soon as we got the third, you knew it was over. And then after that, it was party time, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Where do you rank this win for the season so far?
I think some of our better performances. I mean, look, Tottenham and Chelsea are our two best performances. Yeah. But then, if I'm honest, I think the draw at Liverpool at home was a better performance than this. Obviously, I prefer the 3 points than the one. But in terms of how we played, I think we tend to play better against the bigger sides. It was good. We got the job done, and it was probably in our top 5. But I personally, as I said, would put Liverpool above this, even though we didn't get the win.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd probably agree. The Liverpool, Man United, I think that wasn't a bad game as well. Was it 2-2
away?
Yeah.
I didn't think we were the best. I mean, both times we conceded within a minute of scoring, give or take. So I'm never really going to be too fond of that performance.
Was that the one though that we we put our heads back up and we got back into it, didn't we? And that's what I remember of it.
Well, I mean, we was up. No, we went 1-0 up and then they scored straight away. Then we went 2-1 up and they scored straight away again. In the United game. So, I mean, I'd probably say this was better than that. As I said, this would be in my top 5, but it wouldn't be near the top.
Yeah, okay. Your man of the match?
Very difficult to choose between Ozil and Mickey. I would go Ozil purely because he done it first. I know. I mean, everyone that listens will know I've said this often. I think it's harder to get a goal and assist that put you 2-0 up than get a goal and assist that put you 3-1 and 4-1. I know that wasn't what happened with Mickey. Yeah. So I think Ozil was the kind of one that dictated the game by getting it done early. But Mickey was very, very good. And if anyone gave it to Mickey, there's not an argument to be had. I mean, he ended up, with figures-wise, he got better because he got 2 assists. So
2 assists and a
goal. It's a
yeah.
fair argument to go Mickey. But for me, I think Ozil done it early, which made the game open and allowed everyone else to go and play. Interestingly, I looked at who scored, and to be honest, I thought Aubameyang was terrible. Not terrible. I didn't think he was great. He does what he does, doesn't really get involved and scores. So I looked up who scored because, again, I know they like it when he does that.
Yep.
He got a 7.9, which was the 3rd highest. So Ozil got 8.9. I've just loaded it up again. Mickey got 8.7 and Aubameyang... Koscielny got 8.1, sorry. And then Aubameyang 7.9. So he was our 4th best because they like that. They like that he does not much and scores.
Isn't that interesting how they score that? Like Mickey with 2 assists and a goal and Ozil with 1 goal and assist. And look, I agree with you. I can't split the pair of them. They were both brilliant. And probably, very instrumental towards this win. But isn't it weird who scored? So it obviously doesn't go on assists and goals.
Well, I mean, they label it, so they put, by their score, a football for a goal, or they write A for an assist. So it says Mickey 8.7, goal, assist, and subbed off.
Okay.
So they label it. I mean, as I said, I don't know if they use pass completed, or... Because I'd imagine with, say, Aubameyang, that we know he gets the most of his shots on target. That probably goes in his favour. He probably completes, because he hardly touches the ball, he probably completes most of his passes, which probably goes in his favour. He scores he doesn't have too many shots, and he scores a lot of them. I read a stat, I think you sent it last week, that I think over 50% of his shots on target have gone in, which, again, for ratings like this, will make him look like an unbelievable finisher. For me, I think I think the stat was something like he'd had 29 shots on target and scored 16 goals. For me, we're 29 games in or something. I don't know how far, but we're 20 something games in. Only having 29 shots on target for me is not really acceptable.
Yeah.
But on their ratings, it's that makes him higher.
Always has him pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I couldn't split them, and I'm just having a look at clockandtalk.blogspot.com. Craig done the ratings, and he couldn't split them either, giving Ozil a 9, Mkhitaryan a 9. So, interesting one, though. He gave, and not taking anything away from Leno, but he gave him an 8. Which... Well,
to be fair, he made a very... Again, we was open early on. He made a good save early on from someone. I can't remember who it was. He made the save from Fraser. Sorry. Did he make a save before we scored? I feel like he did. I can't remember it.
I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah. So he done everything. Look, the goal he's got no chance with. They're 2-on-1. But beyond that, he done everything he could. I don't know if 8's a bit strong, but I mean, there's no criticism there.
Yeah. No, definitely not. It was interesting because I see a lot of Arsenal fans, in the forums and Facebook and Twitter and whatnot, saying, geez, Leno misses out on a clean sheet again because of our shitty fucking defence. And look, it's very hard to argue with.
Yeah.
Very hard. Okay, as I said, a quick show is a good show because we've got 24 hours before the Spurs game. So we did ask for some questions. So we're going to pump through these, Tony.
Yep.
Sandeep, he says, what happened to Schwinn? He used to be the fence sitter. Now he feels like Tony's doing the same by not committing to predictions.
I mean, in my defence, I never have done. So it's not like there's been a sudden change. I've never, even way before Clock and Talk, I've never given predictions. It'll be funny when Schwinn's next on the show. So we went for food after the game with some of my friends. And one of them said, what do you think the score will be on Saturday? And he went, well, Tony, I know you're not going to answer, so Schwinn, what do you think? And this is obviously someone that has nothing to do with Clock and Talk, the reason I don't give predictions. You're just giving yourself a chance to be wrong.
Yeah, fair enough. Sandeep also says, who is better tactical, Emery or Poch? From he's wrote it as Point Shitano.
Difficult. I mean, they both had their criticisms in that area, that they don't change things quick enough, or they change things too much and they don't select the best option. I think when we've come off the back of a 5-1 win, it's always difficult to praise anyone else, especially when they've come off the back of 2 losses. I don't think Pochettino tends to change things too much, which is a blessing and a curse. Because if Route 1 works, or if Plan 1, works, then you're fine. If not, you're in trouble. And that's one of Tottenham's fans' biggest moans about him. Whereas I think Emery probably changes things too much, which is one of Arsenal fans' biggest moans about him. So it's a pick 'em, really, in terms of tactics. I mean, what are we, 4 points behind them? And to be honest, I'd say they've got a better team. So you can make an argument for either one. I don't think there's a right or wrong.
Everyone's prediction for the Spurs game, including Tony, Sandeep says. And I can tell you, Sandeep, you've got absolutely no chance. Schwinn's not with us. I'll throw something in the air. I think I'm going to go draw. 1-1 draw.
You know they haven't drawn a game this season.
Haven't they? There you go.
No.
It was clear off the cuff. I have done no homework. We can't keep a clean sheet if our fucking life depended on it. So they're bound to get one, guarantee. Look, I think it'll be a close game. Either a 1-1 or a 2-1 to the Arsenal. That's Sandeep says, would love to see Trippier score a similar goal this weekend. Goal of the week. I didn't see it.
Great finish.
Was it? I'll have to have a look. Thanks, Sandeep. Sandeep sent through a bit of something here. Chelsea Football Club. Last summer, Chelsea were trolled for spending $80 million on a goalkeeper, but what nobody knew is that Chelsea got a goalkeeper and a manager at once. MAA Gunner, Schwinn misses months of podcasts and he has made host as soon as he came back. He spends a week in London and now watches games from the club level. Good thing he hasn't done an interview on AFTV, or he somehow take over interviews from Robbie within an hour. MAA Gunner, I'd honestly stop the attacks on Schwinn if he does one interview with AFTV.
You've got absolutely no chance.
Hey, what do you know? Granite and Shaqiri don't play a single minute, and Arsenal Liverpool won by 5 goals. Fuck off, MAA Gunner. I'm guessing everybody has a similar lineup for Saturday's game, with right back and striker being the only headache. For me, I'd play Lichtsteiner and Lacazette.
Who's asked this question, sorry?
MAA Gunner.
I don't know. I don't think. I mean, my opinion is Ozil does not. This is not what I want. This is what I think will happen. That Ozil doesn't play. So I don't know when he's saying everyone has. And most people I spoke to think the same. Yeah, I don't know if when he says everyone has a similar lineup, if he expects Ozil to play, because I 100% don't.
No, I don't think he will. Even though he had a great game, and I think Emery will think this game will be a bit too tough for him. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's going to go back 4 or back 5. I think if he only plays one striker, Lacazette plays, in my opinion. I worry that, I mean, Mickey's got to start. I worry that Iwobi will be the other one. I've got something in me tells me he's going to play Ramsey, because it's the type of game Ramsey plays in. I mean, in terms of it's the type of game Ramsey's good in, a big pitch, loads of energy, he can break forward. So that's a hope. I don't think, I mean, sorry, he's made it sound like his team is very easy to pick. I'm struggling to put an 11 that I think it will be.
Last time we played, when we beat them 4-2, and I know things have changed since then, we did go 3-4-2-1.
Yeah, we changed at half time. We were 2-1 down and changed.
Yeah, we had Mickey and Iwobi starting with Aubameyang up top.
Yeah.
So I know things have moved on. That was when Bella and whether you go 5 at the back or whatever you call it, but yeah.
Yeah, no, we went 5 at the back, and then we played really well and conceded 2 stupid goals, and then at half time he brought Ramsey on and Lacazette, and we went 2 up top.
Yeah, he brought Ramsey on just before half time, or just after.
No, it was at half time. He made 2 subs at half time.
Yeah. So you don't know. Like, he might have learned a little bit on the way since then, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting a back 5, to be honest, and with Lacazette up top, and as I said, Mickey and hopefully Ramsey, probably Iwobi. The right back's an interesting one. I think he'll go. I mean, it depends on Maitland-Niles, because we don't know what's going on with him. But if not, it will definitely be Lichtsteiner. I can't see it being Jenko.
No, I can't either. Would you rather, MAA Gunner, would you rather win Europa League with Czech saving a last-minute penalty and Ramsey scoring a counter-attack, or Aubameyang scoring in the last minute at Burnley to get the golden boot and securing a finish above Spurs?
Trophy.
Yeah, I'd rather a trophy too. Yeah.
I mean, the players are irrelevant. I couldn't care if my mum saved a last-minute penalty and my dog scored the winner. I don't care on the players. As long as they've got an Arsenal badge on their chest, I couldn't care less.
Yeah, you're not going to...
I know why he's saying it, because they're the players that are leaving.
Yeah.
And again, in terms of if Aubameyang was to win the Golden Boot, it doesn't mean shit to me. But it's well done for him. I want him to win the Golden Boot, but I don't particularly care. And yeah, I mean, what's the point finishing 5th if Tottenham finish 6th? I don't care.
I'd rather a Europa League and back into Champions League next season. Yeah. Right now, would you settle for a draw against both Spurs and Man U? Also, you had to choose one group to listen to for the rest of your life. Would it be Queen or Oasis? Says Clay Conservative.
See, the worry is fucking Chelsea. Because a draw against Tottenham and United, 2 draws would not be bad results. But that gives Chelsea... If Chelsea, I think they've got Fulham, and I don't know who their other game is against. But if they get the 6 points, then that leaves us... Does it leave us 6 behind them or 3 behind them? And then that's a tough...
now. So, yeah.
Yeah, but they've got a game in hand, haven't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so, I mean, essentially it would leave us 6 behind them if they win their game in hand, which, it'd leave us 4 behind them, sorry, with the 2 draws, which is a hell of a gap to close. And if Tottenham win the week we play United, if it was to be a draw, it would leave us 4 behind them as well. So it would just be really messy. It would make the situation really messy. So although our results I wouldn't mind, it leaves the table in a bad place if that happens.
Mm-hmm. Queen or Oasis?
For me, it's quite simple, Oasis. I'm assuming Schwinn would disagree, but he's not here, so fuck him. I was actually... I saw this question come in, and this may be me being very ignorant or show my age or whatever, but behind Bohemian Rhapsody, off the top of my head, I can't think of another Queen song. Bohemian Rhapsody is amazing.
Yeah. We Will Rock You. Another one bites the dust.
Is that them?
Yeah.
Is that them?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, still Oasis, but I didn't know that was them.
I'm with you, mate, Oasis. I'm not a big fan of Queen. I like Bohemian Rhapsody, as you say. That is a brilliant song. But another one bites the dust. Nah, not overly keen on We Will Rock You. Nah. Oasis for me.
I Want to Break Free then?
Want to Break Free. I think it is. Yeah. Yep.
And Freddie Mercury doing the hoovering with a moustache.
Yeah. Nah, I'm like you, Oasis. We probably get hammered over that because of that movie that's just come out too. Everyone's a big Queen fan all of a sudden. They've all come out of the fucking cupboard.
Yeah, I'll be interested with Schwinn because we know he's an Oasis hater and he's also younger than me, so he probably doesn't know too much about Queen.
Mate, he's the only bloke in the world that didn't know fucking the lyrics to Wonderwall. I was shocked.
He's a wrong'un.
I was absolutely shocked. As MAA Gunner says, be careful, some people here have an agenda towards Oasis.
Yeah, me and you.
Sushant? Something like that.
Sushant, I guess.
Sushant, yeah. Can Chambers be a good squad player for us next season? Can take space off El Neni in the squad? I think El Neni's gone, hasn't he?
Well, this is the issue. I mean, either whatever one of them it is to be, I think Chambers is the better player, but they're only going to be a 4th or 5th choice centre midfielder. So you take the one, if you had to sell one of them, you take the one that you get most money for, which I believe would be Chambers. I'd probably expect both of them to go, to be honest. Chambers is definitely more useful than El Neni because he can play centre back, he can play right back, he can play holding midfield. But I don't really see him being here next the start of the season. But I wouldn't mind if he was. It's not one of them where I think, we absolutely have to get rid of him. Wouldn't mind if he was there. I think with the money he could potentially bring in, I think he'll probably be out the door.
I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm thinking 12 to 15 for El Neni. Maybe 20 to 25.
Probably, I don't think it'd reach that much. I think 10 at an absolute maximum, to be honest.
Okay. Chambers? 15.
Probably you got the English tax as well, haven't you? So probably 20, high teens or 20.
Yeah, okay.
15 plus, let's
15
say.
plus, yeah, okay. He also says, has Mickey returned, conceded with us, playing better offensively? How crucial is he to Emery's style of play?
Look, you can't. Well, you say that we didn't play great against Huddersfield, and Mickey played. He was probably our best player on the day, but as a team, we didn't play well. And we probably got criticised more after that than any other result this season, including by ourselves. We was horrible at Huddersfield and obviously won. Since then, Southampton, Mickey played well. Wednesday, Mickey played well. I don't know if you'd say we returned to good form. I don't know. I wouldn't make that link. I would just say, I would say Mickey's played very well. I wouldn't make the link to us returning to form because I'm not really sure we have.
Mm-hmm. No, it is very hard. Look, if we beat Spurs, I'm thinking we're on a good run, 3 in a row.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look, the run is. Run is there or not, but would I link that to Mickey? No, I'd say Mickey's played very well, but I wouldn't say he's the reason we've played very well.
Yep. Last one from him. Has Ozil made enough case to start against United at home. So he's not thinking he's going to start against Spurs.
Well, there's Ren in between, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah, there is.
I think so.
We got Ren
there is, you're telling me? Yep, okay.
Yeah, so I don't think he starts tomorrow. He starts against Ren, I think. And that's another audition. He has a chance of starting against United, I would say, whereas I don't think he has a chance of starting against Tottenham. I could be proved wrong in like 22 hours or something.
Yep.
But I can't see him being a starter tomorrow. And then United, as I said, I guess it depends what happens in the Tottenham game and what happens in the Ren game.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I hate agreeing with you, but I can't make a case for it. Emery and Ozil, I know you can't know what's going on there. Sarvesh says, well, finally some great football, and everyone has to agree Ozil and Mickey were on fire. So do you think Iwobi deserves to come back into the team with Ozil's start against Spurs because of his performance? If he doesn't and we lose the match, will Emery be in more pressure?
He's always going to get questioned when Ozil doesn't play, unless we win. And this is what, again, I've been saying it the whole time. In terms of fighting a battle you can't win, because if we lose, they're just going to blame him for not picking Ozil, even if sometimes it may be the right decision.
Well, it's the devil's advocate, isn't
it? Yeah. I mean, I don't know if has Iwobi done enough to play for me? No, in my opinion. Will he play? He's got more chance than Ozil. In my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
As I said, I think Mickey's almost guaranteed, and he came off first the other day, which also gives you a hint. Being the first attacking player to come off at least. So Mickey plays, and then if we go 4-2-3-1, maybe it could be Mickey, Ozil, and Iwobi. I don't expect that, but you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be Iwobi and Aubameyang wide and Lacazette up top. We just don't really know what to expect. But I'd say, if at the moment Iwobi has more chance of starting tomorrow than Mesut does.
Yep.
I think Ramsey has more chance of starting than Mesut does, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know. Emery's he's a weird cunt. He really is. That's it. With him and Ozil, I don't know. It's a very, very weird situation. It is like. We've gone on about it here before, and I just don't know what the end game is with Ozil and Emery. I don't know what that is. Vish says, not hating on Guendouzi, he's a future superstar, but given his affinity for receiving the ball in high-pressure situations, would Spurs target him as a weakness as Bournemouth did? Spurs are much better at the press and tactical fouls, which they could catch us on the counter with.
Well, I mean, for me, he wouldn't be starting anyway. It'd be Xhaka, but Xhaka's also very prone to being pressed. I think the key is, especially early on, not putting the players, whether it be Guendouzi, Torreira, Xhaka, not putting them in that position where there's an easy press on them. So, I mean, don't give, if it is to be Xhaka, don't give Xhaka the ball back to goal 20, 25 yards out from our own goal. Because you know that's as you said, they press well, and you know that's a horrible situation with his ability, like what he likes to do. That's a horrible situation for him, so just don't do it. I think the player, sometimes I've seen Leno get a lot of hate for Guendouzi's mistake, and I don't see it, because I think he gave the ball Guendouzi, who still had 2 or 3 options. He just fucked about for too long. But sometimes a player passing the ball has to have a bit of sense. I remember last season Xhaka got caught with one, and yeah, he shouldn't have lost the ball, but Czech stitched him up massively. He played in the ball, and by the time it actually got to Xhaka, there was no options on. There was players around him in 2 or 3 directions, and they nicked the ball and scored. So I think on Saturday, whoever it is that plays there, the person passing the ball has to be very sensible and not put them in them positions.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Gator Guna, do you see our constant defence fraddles down to players or coaching? Sorry I haven't been around. Went into a shell after the Liverpool game. Spurs prediction.
Both system and players. Any individual errors you have to put down to the player. It doesn't matter what system you play. If Guendouzi makes that mistake, he makes that mistake. When Fraser went through and Leno made a good save, I think two of our defenders were wildly out of position. But then when something doesn't improve across a whole season, or we're at least 2/3 away or 3/4 through the season, you also have to put the system in there as well. Because I think someone that had organised defence correctly, they wouldn't still be defending like this, even if they had a lot worse players. So I think it's a bit of both. I don't think there's one you can go, it's completely Emery's fault or it's completely the players' fault. I think there's partial blame on both sides.
I just don't think they're good enough players. I don't think... Holding's...
Yeah,
Holding, but...
You look at teams that are below us in the league or with worse players that have better defensive records, and it's because of the system.
Yeah, a lot of them set up for a counter, don't they?
Yeah, but it's not like we're a free-flowing attacking team in general. We're playing 3 at the back and 3 defensive midfielders most weeks.
It's fucking shocking. MAA Gunner, did Suarez fit into Gunnosaurus costume all right?
No chance. Gunnosaurus is massive, you know.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, big old dinosaur.
Clay Conservative. Can Schwinn stay in London through mid-May to ensure this form carries through to the end of the season? And my prediction of only 4 more drop points materialises. Do I need to mail him cash for... what's he saying? For permanent, as he has a broken wallet.
Yeah, someone asked me if he was buying all the drinks last week, and I said he's got a new super glue wallet. It's impossible to open. Yeah, I mean, look, if we lose on Saturday, if we lose tomorrow, everyone's going to be calling for him to get deported and go and chill out with Shamima Begum or whatever her name is. So let's hold fire on keeping him here for the rest of the season.
Especially the bloke don't buy the fucking drinks. Fair dinkum.
I know. I mean, I'll be in debt. I'll have to sell my house if he stays here much longer, the amount of food and drink I'm having to buy.
That RC fella, when Schwinn is in London, do Tony and him share a microphone for the podcast? Or is that a little too romantic? Oh.
Candlelit podcast.
Fucking hell, they're all about Schwinn here. MAA Gunner, have you taken Schwinn fencing yet? I think it's a natural with a lot of potential. That's a fucking classic. Isn't it funny, Schwinn's not on here and every cunt's fucking having shots at him.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Why do the FA suck on Tottenham's dick so much? You were talking to me about this earlier. With Kane.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't seen it at all.
Without being, but I'm not sure if I think he should be banned, to be honest. I understand the reasons people are calling for it, but I'm not sure. I'd be disappointed if Arsenal player got banned for it.
I'll have to have a look. What did he do? Did he punch someone or something, was it? Not punch.
No, so you know when like players are like head to head, like face to face?
Yeah.
Like squaring up. He was like that, but they were a bit further away. They were maybe, I don't know, a foot apart, maybe a bit less. And he's moved his head forward, but not made contact. Like, he's not tried to headbutt him, I don't think. I think, do you know you're trying to scare someone and you, like, put your head in and pretend you're going to headbutt them?
Yeah, right. So, like,
it's sort of, I mean, he could have easily made contact if he wanted to, and he didn't. I get that people are saying intent, but I don't think you can call it intent when he's had no intent. If he wanted to headbutt him, he could have done. So, if the intent was to headbutt him, he would have headbutted him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can see where people are coming from. He's moved his head towards another player's face. But I'm not sure it's a ban, to be honest. The Pochettino one's interesting, though, because they announced they were going to charge him. They demoted Mike Dean from a game, yet no one said anything about Pochettino.
Was that after the Burnley game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, and like they've said they're going to charge him, but there's been no call of what's going to happen. they'll announce it on Monday. They'll let him get the two big games out of the way, obviously Chelsea and us, and then they'll announce what they're going to do. But I remember Wenger getting a 3 or 4 game ban for that. Mourinho was getting banned for similar things. So to wait a week and then start the process seems a bit ridiculous to me. But
someone is sucking. Yeah, I agree. Someone's sucking someone's dick here somewhere.
Well, I mean, the thing is with Harry Kane, I don't know how much you would get it over there or other countries, but the England captain is always protected. Whoever it is, Shearer used to get away with absolute murder. I think he only ever got sent off once, and to be honest, he shouldn't have done, but he was elbowing players every week. That's the way he played. But being England captain got him in a favoured position, and I think that's probably where Kane is at. The England captain has always got favourable treatment.
Yeah, okay. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang Golden Boot. It's Jenkinson. Is Janko good enough to play for us after all? And without the controversial, are we better off in the long term with only Aubameyang or Lacazette?
Look, Janko's not a terrible player. I think people go over the top. He's not Arsenal level. He's a Premier League player. He's probably a decent second or third choice right back. Look, he's not good enough for Arsenal in answer to the question, but he's also not as bad as people think. With the strikers, I don't know. It's very hard to say after we've just played one and won 5-1, but there's also been so many times where they've just been so isolated and we're calling, why don't they play the two together? I think this is one of them debates that you change your answer every week. We win 5-1 and only play one up front and you go, yeah, that's all we need. Next week we draw 0-0 with someone shit and can't create anything, or you have Lacazette with the ball and no one within 30 yards of him, and you're like, fuck's sake, where's Aubameyang? Ideally, this is why I'm not a manager. Ideally, you'd have them both in the team. The best system for that, I ain't got a fucking clue. And that's the issue. I mean, Aubameyang, when he played from the left, is effective in terms of scoring goals, but you're pretty much writing off the left wing because he's not a winger. He's not going to go and beat his man around the outside. He's not going to put crosses in. His link up with Kolasinac probably wouldn't be as good, almost certainly wouldn't be as good. So you're limiting yourself there. I think there's a pro and a negative for every situation. So it just depends on what's happened that week as to whether you're going to look at the positive or the negative.
Let's keep in mind, though, Wenger bought both of them, so I wonder what... we watched Aubameyang play a season and Lacazette, but I wonder what the future was for them both if Wenger was to stay.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because obviously he got him in January and Lacazette was injured for a bit, and then we had Aubameyang couldn't play in Europe, so he played in the league and Aubameyang played in...
I got it.
They played together a couple of times.
Yeah, we got it at that point, but I wonder what this season...
Yeah, we'll never know what the long-term plan was, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe there wasn't one. If he actually did know he was going, which is what everyone suspects, maybe there weren't a plan. He didn't need to think long-term.
Yeah, he just needed the backup for Lacazette at the time, maybe, in the Europa.
Or someone to play in. Yeah, someone to play in the league, so Lacazette wasn't playing every week.
Yeah, sorry, Lacazette for the Europa League and then having Aubameyang in the league or something. Chip talks of a summer transfer budget of £50 million. What could you fill with that budget, and who are they? Oh fuck!
I mean, I know Chip's the new listener because he tweeted us last week. I think if you go back a couple of weeks, it depends on who you're selling. I mean, we all done ours. Obviously, me, you, and Schwinn, and we had wildly different budgets depending on who you're letting go. Because it'd be 50 million. If it is 50 million, I think we settled on 70 when we done ours. But if it is 50 million, it'll be 50 million plus sales. So then, depending on who you're selling, it alters your targets massively.
Ramsey's one replacement. But then Dennis Suarez, are we going to... who knows? 50 mil, is it? They talked about what we don't know what we're going to have, really, do we?
No, I mean, there has been... I know where he's got it from. There's been press reports that it is going to be 50 million. But again, you never know. If it's Champions League, there's no way it's going to be the same as it would be if it's in Europa League. We've got the Adidas deal, the Emirates deal renews. So I'm not saying it isn't 50 million.
Yep.
I would be surprised if it is. I feel like it will be more. But maybe that's the optimism in me. But there has been reports saying 50 million, so it's not a ridiculous question.
Yeah, okay. I've just lost the question, so bear with me 2 seconds. I decided to click around and play fucking silly buggers. Here we go. So that was Chip's question. Talks to the 50 million. Chip has another question. You should all come to Sydney next year for the Mardi Gras. It's on this weekend. My boyfriend and I will put you all up for the weekend. Fucking hell. Where do I live in Australia?
Who's that?
Chip says. He's asked where do I live in Australia.
Go on, get yourself down to Mardi Gras. Get them beads around your neck, son.
No disrespect, Chip, but mate, I'm not the kind of bloke that'll head to a Mardi Gras, brother. I'll have a couple of beers at the pub with you though, for sure, mate. But no, Tony and Schwinn, you boys might head to a Mardi Gras.
It's during the football season.
So you're out. No, but yeah. Where do I live in Australia? As you drive over the Sydney Harbour Bridge, you'll look down to the Opera House, and it's about 1,000 kilometres from there.
You're such a dick.
Hey?
You're such a dick.
Chip says, name 3 of your favourite Arsenal players each. Oh, shit.
Current or...
He didn't say current, he just said, name 3 of your favourite Arsenal players each, please.
I mean...
Look, I'm going to say one, Tony Adams. I loved him. That's one. Yeah. Henry's hard to go by, isn't it?
Yeah.
Burkamp.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have Adams in mine. He's not far off. I'm not one of... You get a load of fans that think it's cool to hate Tony Adams or whatever. I'm not one of them. It's just I would go Burkamp, Henry, Pires. Not in that order. They're my top 3. I don't know what order. I just really like Pires. That's just...
Yeah, no, that's very cool. Yeah, I'd be the same with Tony Adams. In this current era... Well, yeah. Who would you have in this... Because you're a big Wilshere fan.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not in my top 3 ever.
No, I'm a Granite fan, but he's not in my top 3 ever. Like, I appreciate what he does. I like what he does. I want him to succeed in every way at Arsenal. But yeah, he's not in my top 3. Schwinn would be Ozil, and Ozil, I'd imagine. Oh, no,
I'm not sure, because long term I don't think he would be, to be fair.
Yeah. No, he was a big fan of... I can't think of his name now. Fucking mind blown. He was talking about him last week, remember?
Oh, Schwinn.
Yeah, Schwinn, yeah.
Yeah, but he's not... he wouldn't be in his top 3. I think most people's top 3 are going to be bound of Henry, Burkamp, Adams... Maybe Rocky for the people that are a bit older. I can't count someone like Rocky because I never saw him play. Ian Wright's going to be up there. I think you could probably pick a list of 10 players and pretty much everyone's top 3 are going to come from them.
Vieira.
Yeah, again.
Yeah. Okay.
Brady, older, but again, I'm too young.
Yeah. Okay. I know we won the game. Chip also says, I know we won the game 5-1. However, I'd replace Guendouzi for Xhaka in a heartbeat. I don't feel he is ready for the Premier League. I do not like how he gets so frustrated on the field. We'll just
Chip's from Australia, right?
Yeah.
Have you been signing up dodgy accounts again?
Well, I presume he's Australian because he wants us to go to the Sydney Mardi Gras.
I think you've been signing up them burner accounts again.
No, it's definitely no burner account of mine. Granite, Guendouzi, your thoughts there?
No, I mean, I would definitely play Granite ahead of Guendouzi at the moment. I don't mind him showing a bit on the pitch. How many times did we call out for someone who put in a tackle or showed a bit of passion? look, it's probably the main reason a lot of people love Jack, and we call out for that all the time. So I'm not going to criticise him for that. But yeah, I would prefer Granit at the moment. No, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yep. Yeah, look, I like obviously Granit. Guendouzi, look, I got nothing against the kid. I think he's a big future star. Gonna cast ZA. Would you start Janko at right back, given the passion for the club and knowing how important the NLD is, North London Derby, or would you opt for Lichtsteiner, who's more game experience this season?
Not probably, definitely Lichtsteiner. He's also a hard bastard, which helps when it comes down to it. Jenko's a better athlete. Lichtsteiner's a better footballer. And I think it comes down to that. I don't think it's going to be the type of game where you see our fullbacks or wingbacks, whatever they are, bombing on anyway, apart from Kolasinac, who pretty much stands by the corner flag most of the time. So I don't think Jenko's athleticism would be really worthwhile, and the thought of Son running at him would terrify me, to be honest.
See, I'm the opposite to you. I can't stand Lichtsteiner at all. I don't think he's a good player. I'm not making a case for Lichtsteiner to be World Player of the Year, but I just think in that situation I prefer him to Jenko, who's played. I think there was a quote, a fact or whatever you want to call it, yesterday that Jenko started his first Premier League game for 800 days. Yeah, that's.
I think to go from that and then play a North London derby 3 days later is an absolute stretch.
It's a bit crazy, yeah. Maputo. Sorry, mate.
Maputo.
I know that Diaby didn't make his Diaby.
Abu Dhabi.
Oh, fuck's sake. Get with the program, Tess. Didn't make his potential, but showed his quality time to time. Why are people being mean and thankless since he said he's retiring? Arsenal fans on Twitter are the worst. I don't know what he's referring to there.
No, I do. It's a weird one. I mean, I can't believe I'm answering this question seriously. But it's a weird one because the guy tried, he got injured. I think people are a bit bitter that he got paid for so long while not playing, but it weren't really his fault. He pretty much had his ankle removed from the rest of his body. It's difficult. I mean, I don't think he should be getting hero status, but I don't understand the criticism. Each to their own, I guess. I agree Arsenal fans on Twitter are the worst, though. Football fans on Twitter are the worst, not just Arsenal fans. It's why I don't have a personal Twitter, because some of the nonsense you see, even on the fucking talk timeline, is just like, oh, give it a rest.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's some queer cunts out there everywhere. Okay, well, that's the questions. Thank you for everybody. Oh, hang on.
What about, the ones in Skype?
I've just realised that. I'm just going to Skype now.
Well, it's easy to realise it after I've told you.
No, I was logging on. I'm all over this shit. Guendouzi was obviously to blame, so Matty says, for the goal, but do you think Leno could have opted for a less risky option instead of Guendouzi?
Of course he could have. I don't think it was a risky option. I don't think there's anything wrong with the ball. Of course he could have gone less risky by just pumping it long towards Aubameyang. We would have lost the ball, but it wouldn't have been on the edge of our own area. But I don't think it was a risky ball, really. He rolled it into him. Guendouzi could have come back to him first time. He could have gone wide. I think it was Nacho was free. I think there was a switch over the other side as well, which is a bit of a harder ball. But there was at least two very easy passes on for Guendouzi. So, of course, there is more safe options, but I don't think there's anything wrong with what Leno done.
Okay, French League has postponed Rennes' match on their request so that they are well prepared for Europa League. This is insane. And do you think ever the Premier League did that before?
I think there has been times. There used to be, so the Spanish League years ago used to do it all the time. I'm going back to probably the late 90s. The La Liga used to do it all the time, and then the Premier League clubs started doing it to try and sort of help. But then everyone sort of stopped doing it. I didn't know that's what's happened with Rennes, to be honest. It's the first I heard of it. Is it really an advantage? Maybe. They won't be tired, but then they've not played for a week. I mean, we've had a massive advantage in the tie being switched for no real reason. It's funny that they're going on about the switch, like because Arsenal and Chelsea can't play at home on the same day. When on Wednesday we had Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, Bournemouth, and there was another London game. I can't remember who it was. With Palace at home, maybe. No, yeah, Palace, Man United, all in London on the same day. And it's like, but Europa League won't allow it. But no, I can't see the Premier League ever doing it in future. It is something that they have done once or twice, but the Spanish League used to be like consistent with it. As soon as Real Madrid or Barcelona got a hard draw, their game was postponed the week before.
Okay. Tony's prediction, at least for this match, no 10-0, please.
There will be some footballers playing football.
You're going to get this every week now, you know.
You was getting it every week anyway. I don't know why people... It's not a new thing. Like people are asking like I've just all of a sudden started doing it.
Yeah, no point really talking about the Spurs game because we've type of covered that a little bit in the...
Well, also, by the time most people have heard this, the game will be about 10 minutes away, I guess. So.
Yeah, so... Okay, that's it. We've done 54 minutes. We will be back after the Spurs game. Hopefully Schwinn is there at the Spurs game and with us after the Spurs game. So, thanks, mate.
Cheers.
And thank you, all you good people, for listening, and thank you for your support. And you can find us on Twitter at @clockend_talk, on YouTube, Facebook, everywhere else. Yeah, at Schwinn on fucking Snapchat. Okay. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.